In the last video, I showed you how to transfer your castle onto this big paper using graphite paper. To recap, we are making ice castles inspired by either Superman or Frozen, with our background inspired by Alma, Woodsey, Thomas. So in this next video, we'll be talking about tints and shades. A tint is when you add white to a color, and a shade is when you add black to a color. So we'll start off with blue. I'm going to get a little bit of blue right over here. Wash my brush, I don't mess up my white. Dab it down. And now I'm going to get some white, about the even amount, the same amount, and mix it together. So when you add white to a color, it could be any color, that is called a tint. So I'm going to go ahead and, I like that color, I'm going to go ahead and use this tint to paint my castle. When you're painting, depending on what you did, mine is all ice, so I'm going to be using straight lines. And it'll be okay if you water it down a little bit so you can see the white. Water down just a little bit, not too much water. This is not painting paper. This is what you call just regular construction paper. Alright, you get the gist. Paint the whole thing with your tint. The next step, I'm going to go ahead and pretend it's all painted. We're going to be working on our Alma Woodsey Thomas inspired background. So I want the ice castle to be the lightest part, and then the background will be darker. So for that, I'll be using a shade. I'm going to take the same thing, a little bit of blue. Not a lot, maybe just do a lot. Wipe it down. And get some black, about the same amount. And you mix it together. That's really black, so I kind of want to be a little bit more blue. I'm going to go ahead and add some more blue to it. Beautiful indigo. Yep. So this is called a shade. When you add black to a color, it's called a shade. And I'm going to go ahead and start making my background. We start here. Woodsey Thomas really does circles, so you can do very precise marks. Unlike Van Gogh, who blends his brush as he goes, Woodsey Thomas is very precise. You're just making little dots over and over. I'm going to make a mark so I can see what I want to do. So I want to follow along this shape right here, something like that. Okay. So I got 3 lines of the shade. I'm going to go ahead and use a lighter color now and make a new pattern. Do that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to move back to the dark color. If you go over your castle, or if you make the pattern, that's okay. This is acrylic paint, so if you make a mistake, you can always paint over the castle. I'm going to go ahead and just keep following that and do a pattern of dark blue, light blue, dark blue, and then I might go ahead and do some purple around here. All of this will be the same. Just remember, if you go over your castle, it's okay if you make a mistake. I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take a break from doing, I'm going to say, that's taking a long time. It's time consuming, but it will look amazing once it's done. I'm going to take a break and work on the castle using a tint. To recap, a tint is when you add white to a color. In this case, blue. So I added lots of white and blue together to make that beautiful baby blue. I'm going to go ahead and paint my ice castle. Ice is not just white. The technique I want to show you is wet on wet. So right now I have a flat white color. Now I'm going to go back to a little bit of plain white, water down, and just make streaks right on top of that to make it look more like ice. You can also do a little bit of blue, water down. And streak right on top to get that texture of the ice. Once again, take that blue, add a little bit of white to it, water it down, and then with that blue, I'm going to go over and just add streaks on top to give it the texture of ice. Ice is not just one color, it's different blues together. And once that dries, I'm going to do the same thing again with a little bit of darker color. Just like this. I might get just plain straight blue. And water that down. Should be like watercolor. And then anywhere there's shadow, very thin lines. Remember, the lightest part is going to be on the very top, close to this moon. Darker parts will be on the bottom. The element I'm using here is value. Value is the lightness and darkness of a color shape. You should always be thinking about where the value is in your artwork, unless you're doing anime or cartoons. Usually those don't have value. I mean, not to say that they're really fun. I love to watch cartoons, but the characters are usually very flat, and the reason for that is because adding value into cartoons can be a little bit difficult when you're trying to do it over and over again. To animate, you have to redraw things. That's why usually when you see a scene with value in it in a cartoon, it's a very important scene. They want to emphasize it. Okay, but you get the gist. That's how you make the castle. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing the Alma Woodsey Thomas. Once it's finished, it's going to look really cool.